Use your powers for evil, Ashildr.
Your evil is mine.
Hello, and welcome to Next Stop Everywhere, your podcast all about Doctor Who, where we are going to talk Fish in the Night, No Time for Banter, a well-hung thief, and a new reoccurring character, we hope. I am Jesse Jackson, and joining me alongside in the TARDIS is Charles Skaggs.
Hey, Jesse, what's up?
I am excited to talk about this, and I would argue it may not be the second part of a two-parter.
Yes, because it's two episodes that seem to be linked.
Yes, more of that than a two-parter. So we are talking about the girl who lived.
Mm-hmm. With a woman who lived.
The woman who lived, that's right.
She grew up.
Yes. Though Maisie Williams still looks really young.
She is very tiny. She's 18.
Yes.
So it's not like she's not an adult, but she's so tiny that that you look at her and you're like, that's a little kid.
Yeah.
Still. But no.
Yes.
Arya's 18. Deal with it.
There you go. Quick thoughts on the episode?
Quick thoughts. I kind of enjoyed this episode quite a bit. I think it had a little bit more depth than the previous episode. I thought the girl who died was a little lighter in tone, and this one was much more serious because it's the Doctor and Ashildr.
Yes,
for the most part, and it's the Doctor realizing the consequences of his actions that we discussed last week. So yeah, it's a little more serious in tone. There are some light moments in it.
Yes.
Certainly. But I think it had more gravitas to it. And that's why I liked it.
I liked it a lot. We talked about last time that, Maisie Williams kind of was just playing Arya Stark, and we said at the time, hopefully there'd be a payoff on why you had such a strong actress in a fairly simple role.
Mm-hmm.
And from my perspective, you did get that payoff. She still had the charm, she still had the enthusiasm, but she also did play that depth of someone who's lived a long time.
Right.
And often, Hitchcock called it the MacGuffin.
Mm-hmm.
That, the plot point that's just driving the story that really isn't important. And I truly think the Eye of Hades or whatever is... Yeah. Often Doctor Who has MacGuffins, but this is one of the most MacGuffin episodes in a long time. Because really all this was about is... And this is almost could have been a Kevin Smith screenplay,
mm-hmm.
because it's just them two talking,
For the most part. I mean, there was the stuff with Sam Swift and
yes.
Leandro, the lion alien guy.
Yes, or
mm-hmm.
Vincent from the Beauty and Beast TV show.
That's a fair. Now you have to go with the classic.
Yes, not the new that he doesn't look ugly at all on
not the new recently canceled Beauty and the Beast.
Yes, not the one with Lana Lang.
Now we're talking about the good one with Linda Hamilton.
Yes, absolutely.
And Ron Perlman. So yeah.
Yes. I just thought that this explored a lot of interesting themes that was worth exploring. Mm-hmm. And what Doctor Who does really well. In their notes, I understand this writer was a Torchwood writer?
Yeah, Catherine Tregenna.
Okay.
And she did write some previous episodes. primarily dealing with Jack's immortality.
Ah, okay.
So, which makes her a perfect choice for this type of story.
So we're not
And-
putting her in a box, but we're
No.
just saying she
No.
does have a niche.
And it is great to see another female Doctor Who writer.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we get her, and we're going to get Sarah Dollard later in the season.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is yeah, she's primarily known for Torchwood, and like you said, this is probably why we got the Captain Jack reference.
Yes.
Hopefully, Captain Jack foreshadowing.
Yes.
But we'll see.
Now, I mentioned this to Charles before we started recording. In one of the reviews I read, and I just love this cockiness, and I'll kind of, as mandatory, I'm going to talk Bruce Springsteen, because if I podcast, I have to talk Bruce Springsteen.
Take a drink.
Yes, one of the things that in this era of we live in with digital cameras and cell phones, when Bruce Springsteen, the day for his birthday, showed up at a Jackson Browne concert, and he joined Jackson Browne for a couple of songs, and immediately Twitter was, when are we going to see the footage? Not, are we going to see the footage, or I wish we could see the footage, but when?
Yeah.
And that is a miracle, a wonderful age. So someone made the comment that we hope this is foreshadowing that me or Ashildr and Captain Jack will meet. And then the writer said, or it'll show up under a Big Finish audio.
Right, because with John Barrowman doing Torchwood audios now for Big Finish, yeah, that's certainly a possibility. So, if down the road, maybe not right away, but down the road, it could happen.
Big Finish has made, and I realize they do other things besides Doctor Who, and we recorded some episodes, and I hope to go back during the our next Doctor Who hiatus that we'll do some more, because that was a lot of fun. But they have made a career out of, let's take it out of fan fiction and let's make it real.
Well, they do have a lot of writers that were fans.
Yes.
And also went on, like Paul Cornell.
Yeah.
You know, like he was originally a fan who became a Doctor Who novelist, and then eventually a Doctor Who TV episode writer. Moffat is the same way. Moffat was a huge, Doctor Who geek, and who kind of rose through that kind of fan fiction-y world, and then eventually became executive producer because of all this other writing for other BBC series.
And
so,
and I love that the BBC allows them to do this, through an agreement. And I also feel that Big Finish Audio takes this responsibility very seriously, and they do make sure that if they're going to do something, they know it is part of canon, and they treat it with and I say sense of reverence, but because they do some fun, but they understand. Hey, respect is a better word.
Yeah. And I would like to point out that, as you said, the Big Finish stuff is pretty much canon now.
Yes, it is.
Especially since The Night of the Doctor, when Stephen Moffat, and you don't get more official than the Doctor Who showrunner,
right?
Incorporating the Eighth Doctor's Big Finish audio companions into his actual chronology.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it counts.
I mentioned this a little bit, but I wanted you to discuss this. I don't think I have been on the record that I am not a fan of two-parters.
Right.
That I think that often the story,
take a drink,
is not worthy of the full 2 episodes. However, this one is a great example of, as you said, they're linked stories, but they are 2 separate stories that just happen to have 2 of the main characters.
A common theme. They do have a common theme.
Absolutely.
And they actually continue. This episode does continue Ashildr's story.
Yes.
From the first episode. So technically it is a 2-parter.
Yeah.
It's just like if it was a novel, that was broken up into one half and another half. The first half, of course, being the girl who lived. Second half being the woman who, the girl who died. The second part being the woman who lived.
Yeah. So I was really pleased with that. And so we've gone 6 episodes.
Halfway through the season.
I was going to say, so Mr. Charles.
Yes.
Is the season half over? Or do we have a half season left to watch?
Well, it all depends if you're one of the internet trolls who are just hate the new season, hate Peter Capaldi, hate whatever Stephen Moffat's doing, or if you're somebody who's really into this season, like I am.
Yes.
So it's all in the matter of perspective. I like to think of it as it's half over, and it's kind of depressing that we only have 6 more episodes, at least until the Christmas special.
Yes, we are. I
am enjoying this season.
We are a little bit of Doctor Who pessimist in that way, because the glass is half empty from our perspective. I think they're hitting, to cross our baseball analogies. They're hitting 666. Mark of the Beast. 2/3 of, there's been 3 two-parters, and 2 out of the 3 I think have been absolutely amazing. I've liked all the episodes. I just think the middle one may have been a little bit of a stretch.
Okay.
To make it 2 episodes, but overall, very, very well done.
Yeah, I agree that Under the Lake Before the Flood is the weakest so far, and hopefully it remains the weakest, because hopefully they either get better, even better, or they at least stay as consistent in quality.
Yeah, because the second part of that one was not a bad episode. I do not think, but then, I'm someone who enjoyed the Robin Hood episode last season, so. Right.
I liked
yes, we
Robots of Sherwood as well. I enjoyed it. That was fun.
So we've kind of talked about
The Forest of the Night. That's a different story.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that one is.
We don't talk about In the Forest.
Right. Tell me what your thoughts are about the mind not keeping track of everything, and Ashildr's, her journals, her. What do you think was in the ripped out pages?
Right.
That's a little mystery. And I assume it looks like she won't age, right?
Right.
At whatever age she was at physically, she's going to stay. So give me your thoughts on that. I thought that was a pretty unique take, and did not expect the show to go there, and was very pleased that it did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's an interesting idea for immortality. I mean, immortality has been handled a lot of different ways. You've got tons of vampire stories that discuss immortality and how horrible it is, or because all the people around you die while you continue on. Torchwood explored this as well with Captain Jack. But the idea that Ashildr's brain only has so much capacity that she ends up forgetting. And now we have gotten some of that with the Doctor, because there are certain things, like right now we've with the 12th incarnation, there were some things, especially last season, that he didn't remember.
Yes.
Because whatever reason, during the regeneration, it kind of like dumps some things. Apparently part of that was his language abilities.
Right.
Where he can only he still knows baby, but he knows semaphore.
Yes.
As opposed to French or whatever it was. So
sign language.
Yes, that's it. Thank you. So things apparently get dumped, and with Ashildr, it seems that she dumps these memories, or she there's so much that kind of builds up over time you tend to forget some things. Now, that's kind of normal with a lot of people, is that especially older people, that in their 60s, that maybe they don't remember as much as they did in their 30s
Yes.
about, say, their teenage years.
And
Because of just you've got these other memories that kind of filter in, and some memories become so dominant you kind of forget the more trivial things in life.
and things that don't. There are moments in my own life, and I'm sure in yours, that made an impression on me that I remember. But there's other things where I don't remember at all. You and I were both in Titan Talk, Take a Drink, and there are people that, and that's been a long time ago.
Yes,
but there are still people that I recognize their name and I know. There's others I would be shocked. I'm like, really? You were in that Titan Talk with us? But at the time, I would have known them very well.
Right.
But I haven't thought about it, hadn't worked on.
You haven't kept in touch, and
right.
Things fall by. I mean, it's just the natural progression of life.
Yes.
If it's not something you're dealing with regularly on a constant basis, it kind of falls by the wayside. Yeah. As your interests and your focus shifts in life.
Yes.
And you and I can speak of that as we're getting older. We experience that.
Absolutely.
Someone in their 20s may not even grasp the concept. But trust me, it will happen.
Yes, it will.
Whether you like it or not.
Absolutely. And, Ken is always amazed. Let's take another drink. Boy, this is a drunk podcast, right?
It's a good thing I'm drinking Sprite
yes, it is.
Instead of saying, like Blue Moon or something, because, I'd be bombed by the time we get halfway through this podcast.
He is always amazed at how much you remember about Doctor Who right off the bat.
Right.
But there are, things that you can't remember.
No.
And I think I think it's a fascinating thing of what she wants to remember and what she doesn't. And I also love the idea that the Doctor is a speed reader.
Mm-hmm. He always has been. Yeah.
Yeah. So he could go through those journals so quickly.
Like in Rose. When the newly regenerated Ninth Doctor walks in, he picks up a book and he goes, "Oh, sad ending."
Yes.
So he just flipped through it and read it like that.
Yes. What do you think are in the missing pages, Charles?
It's a good question. One, there may be things we will never know.
Right.
And it could be just for dramatic effect that, she had some bad memories and she tore them out so that she could forget them. Or, on the other hand, it could be something important.
Yes.
That she's either trying to keep secret from her own mind deliberately,
right,
or doesn't want anybody else to find out.
And
so she dumped the pages, and then maybe later on in the series, we'll find out what was in those pages.
Carlton Cuse and Damon Lindelof talked about on Lost, there would be times when they weren't trying to leave clues, but they just did something.
Right.
And they understood that they had taught people to look for significance in things that seemed to be minor. And they sometimes had to say, no, this really was just it was just a toy plane. It didn't mean anything else. It's not going to do anything.
In the words of Sigmund Freud, sometimes the cigar is just a cigar.
Absolutely. And I don't know either. I'm not going to be upset if we don't get back to them, because I think that was a poignant moment. That she says, when there's things I don't want to remember, I rip it out.
But wouldn't it be interesting if?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you think she's a character the Doctor should worry about?
Definitely.
Okay.
I definitely think, especially the way it was left at the end of this episode.
Yes.
Where she shows up in a selfie that one of Clara's students took.
Yes.
and she shows the doctor, and the doctor immediately knows to like blow it up and look, in the background. Well, I thought that was a little rushed. I thought he might be just like playing around with it, but he goes there, and all of a sudden there's Ashildr looking, staring straight at the camera, almost as a challenge, or as a warning, deliberate, going, "Yes, I'm always watching, and I'm near Clara, and there's nothing you can do about it."
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the doctor should be very worried.
And one of my quotes is, "Enemies are never a problem. It's your friends you have to watch out for." I do think she is a friend, and I do think they ended friendly.
Right.
But I do believe a common theme in the Doctor that is, I'm going to put in a very casual way, is, you don't make an omelet without breaking some eggs. And the Doctor can break a lot of eggs.
Right.
And then moves on.
Yeah.
And
there was a point where Ashildr refers to Clara as one of the Doctor's weaknesses.
Yes.
So right there, that Ashildr sees Clara as something to exploit.
Yes.
To use against the Doctor.
Right.
So that tells me that, it's not looking good. It's very ominous. Let's put it at the very least.
Yeah. I love the Malcolm Gladwell shout out that it only takes 10,000 hours to get good at something.
Right.
That's, the book he wrote about that, like about the Beatles and everything.
See, I'm not familiar with that, so.
Oh, okay.
But
okay.
I will defer to your expertise in this area.
So Malcolm Gladwell wrote a book that's Outliers. And the idea is that because you do something over and over and over again is how you get good at it. And
practice
the example,
makes perfect.
Yes, the example, and it's the 10,000 hour rule, where the Beatles had to play for 8 hours in Hamburg. And by doing that over and over again is how they honed their craft so that they were one of the greatest, musical forces of the 20th century.
Right.
And so when she talks about that, it only takes 10,000 hours, that she can spin that where she doesn't have to be perfect. She just, she's just very good. I thought that was an interesting thing, that what would you do with your immortality?
Yeah. I mean, with being immortal, you can, like us mere humans, we go through life and go always wishing, oh, if only I had time to write this novel, or only if I had time to go on this trip.
Yes.
Something like that. Ashildr has that time. She can do
Absolutely.
that. She can she can indulge every whim as long as she doesn't get herself killed.
Right.
In the process.
Yes. She is a tidal wave, and she's flattered that he did that.
Or shouldn't that be tsunami?
Oh, indeed. Story-wise, I understand why he can't take her on the TARDIS. I'm sorry. Let me rewind.
Okay.
Not story-wise. In real world, I understand why he can't take her on the TARDIS. She's got to get back and be blind on Game of Thrones.
Exactly.
And they're paying, Jenna Coleman, so you can't do this.
Yeah. At least not until the end of the year.
Right. Why do you think... Do you believe the reason the Doctor said, or if we try to do the rules of we're not going to throw in the real world, we're going to base on the story, do you think that is the story, the reason he gave her is the reason he didn't want to take her on the TARDIS?
No. I
don't either.
I think he senses something wrong with her.
Yes. And
I think he feels that it's asking for trouble to bring her along.
Yes.
But I also think he's asking for trouble by leaving her alone, unattended.
Yes.
And I think it's going to bite him hard.
Yeah, one of the things that people forget is every decision has consequences. If you choose to lose weight, that means you're giving up often some of your favorite foods. If you choose to, go right, you can go. You don't get to go left, as Donna Noble found out.
Nice.
The and he is making a choice that he thinks that this is not a good situation. Her in the TARDIS. I would have argued he should have taken her at least on an adventure of two. Ken and I have talked about, and I think you and I have too,
right?
That at times the Doctor invited anyone to go on the TARDIS with him, right? It was
Pretty
like
much
an open door.
Yep.
Hey, you want to go? And in the modern, during these past few Doctors, it's been a little more selective.
Right.
I think he should have taken her, and I do think it's going to come back. And I don't necessarily going to mean bad things for him, but I do think it's going to have consequences that I think he would have missed if he had taken her along.
It's hard to say. We'll have to find out.
Right, absolutely. And
because I think it was going to be a bad thing either way.
And I think you could be right. I love the idea that she is there trying to protect the world from him, as she put it. It's going to be interesting.
She's the patron saint of his lost companions.
Yes. And it would be amazing to see her interact with former companions.
Especially Captain Jack.
Yes, indeed. Absolutely. Do you... Okay, we'll move on from that because I'm fascinated by that. How long do you think? I think personally, and I want to know your thoughts on it. By having this epiphany that people do matter, and that they are not mayflies, I think they called them fruit flies. They're just
mayflies is probably
and her kind of being the patron saint of former companions, I like that. Keeps that in mind. Just the face of the current Doctor's face reminds him that saving even one person is worth it.
Right.
He can't save them all. I think her keeping that in mind, Ashildr will not lose her way and will not treat people who have a brief time span as someone not important anymore. What do you think?
I think that it's going to be what's the hardest? It's a little hard to express, but
okay.
I see.
That's why we're here.
Yeah, I know. This almost feels like therapy. No.
Yes.
No, I see Ashildr. I mean, I'm coming from this perspective because I see Ashildr like becoming a big bad this season.
Ooh, okay.
I think that this is the groundwork.
Okay.
She already has this grudge against the Doctor for letting her live all these years. She wants to die.
Okay.
And she wants to travel in the TARDIS. He won't let her.
Okay.
So she sees him as keeping her from doing what she wants.
I'm sensing team up. Her and Missy.
It would make a good fit, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would. Okay.
And I also remember Davros's prophecy about hybrids from season 1, and she is essentially a hybrid.
Okay.
Now with this alien technology keeping her immortal.
Okay.
So is she part of Davros's prophecy that pays off later on?
So, to no one's shock.
And why is she watching Clara? And she's making all these kind of veiled threats, that saying that she's a weakness. And, kind of writing the Doctor about how many companions have you lost, Doctor? How many Claras?
Mm-hmm.
So, I think
I think
I think there's a deep resentment here toward him,
Mhm.
and maybe she overcame it, but
Okay.
I don't. What's to keep her from sliding right back to the dark side of the Force?
So what I hear
What's
you
she throwing?
saying is
Yeah,
Ashildr's going to kill Clara.
and I don't know that she will kill Clara, or she could have somebody else kill Clara.
Okay.
But I do think Ashildr is a factor,
Okay.
especially knowing that it was just kind of pretty much confirmed that Ashildr is going to be returning in episode 10,
Yes.
Face the Raven, which is written by Sarah Dollard.
Yes.
Now, that's also the episode that's supposed to feature the return of Rigsy
Okay.
from Flatline.
Okay.
But
And they may know each other already.
yeah.
There's speculation. I think Clara's going to die, and I'm just kind of throwing it out there on record. I think it's been too long since they've killed a companion.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, great discussion on Twitter about companion's death from our fan. And why am I drawing a blank on his name? Yeah. Yes. Yeah, because
you mean Ken? No.
No, it was Rob. I've got to mess this off. The guy that said it wasn't Pat, was it? It was the. Oh, damn it.
Just okay. It's all right.
Yes. Okay.
See, right things fade from your memories.
Yes, they did. That proves
it happens.
Right.
But yeah.
Sean Grimes, TARDIS pilot.
Yes.
Sean Grimes, where he argued that Rory and Amy were companions who died, and you and I both believe because they lived out their life in the past.
They lived out their life because otherwise, yeah, you'd have all these other companions that the Doctor, that died eventually.
Yes.
That apparently should count, but they don't because the Doctor just wasn't around when they died. And it's not their fault, or it's not his fault for their deaths. But it is kind of the Doctor's fault in Amy and Rory's case that he didn't just meet them in New Jersey and pick them up and bring them back. But that's another thing here and there.
Right.
Neither here nor there. I'll go you one better about Clara dying. I will go on the record saying that Clara has already died. And Moffat's doing his timey-wimeyness storytelling, and that's why the Doctor's so upset. And every time he's going around hugging Clara, and like when he was in the Doctor's meditation in the prequel, and he's all bummed out, it's because it was after her death. What he's doing is going back into Clara's past to see her again, even though she's died.
Ooh.
It's a bit dark, but yeah, I think they're going to go there. That's my theory. How do you like that?
I like that a lot.
Boom.
Yeah, dropping the mic there.
We'll see if it happens. I could be totally wrong on this. I have no knowledge. Swear to Rassilon on this one.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Is Sam Quick immortal?
Sam Swift? Yes.
Sam Swift. You think so?
He's got the chip in his head.
Okay, well.
He's immortal until somebody kills him, which will probably be a few weeks down the road in a bar fight.
Okay. Very nice.
Although, the Doctor did tell Ashildr to watch over Sam. But will she?
I don't know.
Unless she, together, maybe who knows? Because it could be hundreds of years, from where we were in 1651 England in this episode. It's a long road to 2015 England.
It is.
So a lot of things could happen. You could have Ashildr and Sam fall in love as a mortal couple, like a mortal power couple.
Yes.
And they could be very dangerous together.
Okay.
So we'll see.
All right. Quotes. Or is there anything else to talk before we move on to quotes, ranking, and then our special bonus segment?
Bonus segment. Awesome.
Yes.
I just have a couple things.
Okay.
When the doctor was in Ashildr's house, and they're kind of talking about events that are coming up and whatnot.
Yes.
One of the things the doctor talks about is the Great Fire of London that's coming up, and that's only like 15 years away.
Okay.
From down the road. Now, he mentions the Great Fire of London. He mentions that it was caused by the pteroleptals. And that, for you old school fans, especially if you're a Peter Davison fan like myself, that refers to a Fifth Doctor story called The Visitation.
Reverse the polarity? Did you go with the easy one?
Maybe I did.
Okay.
Maybe.
All right.
We'll see. But so yeah, that was a nice little shout out.
Good.
And then we talked about Ashildr coming across to Captain Jack in the future. So, which was we'll see if that happens. But wouldn't it be great if Captain Jack showed up in this season finale? Oh, that'd be awesome. Just out of nowhere. Wouldn't that be great? Even if it's just a cameo, wouldn't that be great?
It would be, and I'd love to be
like having Jack and Ashildr in a pub.
Yeah. Yes.
Just for a little scene like that.
Shout out to Neil Gaiman.
Yep. Shout out. Well, this episode was kind of like the very Neil Gaiman with Dream and Hobb meeting.
Yes.
The Doctor being Dream and then Hobb being Ashildr.
Yes, absolutely.
But so yeah, that's what I've got.
Okay. Quotes.
You want to go first, so I don't steal your thunder?
I know I have taken yours, but I just love. Sorry, were you talking to me there? Try again. I promise I'll listen this time.
Yep, that was one of mine. So you stole one of mine. So that
okay. And then the follow-up, right? Sorry. I really was planning to listen that time, but basically, I didn't.
Yeah, that was my other one. So you stole that too.
Okay.
You stole my follow-up. But and then the only other one I had was the quote I mentioned earlier, where the Doctor says, "You remember Clara, don't you?" And Ashildr / me says, "Of course. I take particular note of anyone's weaknesses."
Yes,
that's important.
I think so. How about rating?
I give this one 8.5 out of 10 Meyer medical chips.
I'm going to give it 9 out of 10 torn diary pages.
You did like this one.
I like this one a lot.
Good.
Reverse the polarity.
It looked great.
It did look great.
Production values with the night setting and the highwaymen. It looked just really gorgeous.
And she looked great in the mask, and him, the sonic shades. I don't need those.
These are tiny highwaymen.
Yes.
Highway woman.
And the whole the gallows scene where he's kind of doing stand up.
Yep.
And I just thought it was really well done.
Yep.
I was very happy.
And the Doctor telling jokes. How funny was that?
Yes, very, very funny.
Yep.
And we had psychic paper, and and the whole Scotland Yard. Has Scotland Yard started yet?
No, not till 1859 or whatever it is.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Reverse the polarity.
Yep. The Visitation.
Okay.
I had to go with The Visitation.
Absolutely.
This is the fourth serial from season 19 in 1982, written by Eric Saward. It's a Fifth Doctor story, Peter Davison, where the Doctor and his companions Tegan, Nyssa, and Adric arrive in 1666.
Ah, okay.
In the area that will eventually become Heathrow Airport, because the Doctor is, it's kind of a running gag for the first few Davison episodes. He's trying to get Tegan back to her own time because she's a stewardess, and she's trying to get her back to her job at Heathrow Airport, but he keeps missing the mark.
Okay.
And this time he gets the right location, but it's a few hundred years early. Okay. So they get out of the TARDIS. They encounter a highwayman.
Ooh, there's a connection.
Yep. And proclaimed thespian, Richard Mace, who helps them against a pteroleptal fugitive that recently landed on Earth, So again, you have an alien on Earth involved in this.
Yes.
But this particular alien, his whole scheme in this episode is a story is to use infected rats to help spread the Black Plague
Ooh,
that
okay.
that most humans will die from, so he can take over the planet. Basically, that's his plan.
Okay.
And so, like he's using, I mean, this is 1666. So he's using, like people with carts and whatnot and hoping to get them to spread these rat cages all over the place. Eventually, in a final showdown with the Pteroleptal leader, the Pteroleptal's weapon starts to overload and detonates, destroying a building and creating a raging fire on Pudding Lane. And this Pudding Lane is the location where the Great Fire of London began.
Ah, okay.
So essentially, the Doctor's responsible for the Great Fire of London.
Very nice. Okay.
Which is what the 12th Doctor was talking about in this episode. So there you go.
There you go. It all ties together.
It's all connected.
Very timey-wimey.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, Charles. This was great. So at this point, we're ending our normal episode discussion, and we are moving to a bonus discussion.
Bonus discussion.
Yes. There is a lot of speculation about who is going to be the next companion. We did get words this week that the Peter Capaldi is not leaving.
Yay! He's staying for season 3, or season 10, but yeah, his third season.
And I'm very happy. I do not like. I understand it's the nature of the business and that show that people move on.
Right.
And if Tennant hadn't left, you wouldn't have gotten Matt Smith, and if Matt Smith hadn't left, you wouldn't have got Peter Capaldi, and on and on and on.
Right.
But I want more of this Doctor.
Yeah. And
so
I think part of it was that Capaldi, he's a very busy actor. A lot of people want him for things.
Yes.
He also wants to direct episodes of Veep, HBO's
how fun.
series. So I don't know if I think he's directed some in the past. He wants to direct more. So I think that was part of the weight on his decision.
Yes.
But thankfully he's returning for at least one more year.
And
at least we'll hopefully get 3 seasons out of him. So that's great.
And it does, I guess it takes, you go with, well, gosh, it's only 13 episodes, but
yeah,
I suppose it takes,
it takes 9 months to film these 13 episodes.
And because, Game of Thrones, they say it takes them a year to do the 10 episodes. That's why they can't do any more for HBO. Okay.
And those are such huge scale productions.
Exactly.
So,
yes, this isn't a,
not as huge, but which is why you can get a couple more. And so, yeah.
Yeah, but it isn't, and I love a lot of dramas, but often, procedurals or other things, you have sets. And the only thing set in Doctor Who is the TARDIS and maybe the school in this area. But the rest of it, there isn't a lot of...
No, I mean, you can reuse stuff. You can reuse props and kind of rework sets.
Yeah.
But a lot of things have to be built from scratch for Doctor Who episodes.
So with
Capaldi
sticking on,
yay!
Charles and I wanted to have a discussion about what we want in a future companion. So we thought, what I thought we'd do is kind of talk a little up first of, in general terms, what we want in a companion.
Okay.
We have a couple of people tweeted us with thoughts, and then Charles and I are going to go through with our wish list or people we'd love to see as companions.
Okay. Why don't you read the Next Stop Everywhere fans first?
I will.
So because they're the ones that are important, not us.
Yes, they are. From the much mentioned and
I got my drink ready.
Yes, Ken Schaefer. Basically, I'd like to see any previous incarnations companions come back to see how they would interact with Capaldi. What would Martha make of him, or better, Ace or Mel? Sure, the actresses would be older, but so's the doctor. And while Clara could, she doesn't remark on the changes, but someone who's been disconnected for a while, that would be very interesting.
Which we did with Sarah Jane.
Yes.
So, and that worked out brilliantly.
Yes.
I would love to see Ace back. I think Ace would be a perfect one to bring back from the classic era. Or Martha, again, would also be a great choice.
Yeah.
I think Rose has been back quite a bit. So
Yes.
I wouldn't go with Rose.
No.
But I would like to see Martha back, or even Donna somehow. That would be great.
I also think that's a great idea. And in fact, I kind of have a little bit that on my wish list. But well done. I think it'd be interesting. Amber Grimm said, don't want someone who's too perfect. Don't want anyone who seems damaged by the doctor.
Right.
Quote unquote, Amy. Maybe someone who has some obvious faults who can grow with the doctor, like Rose and Donna.
Right. Somewhere room to grow up. And,
yes,
and become a better person than what we started with. Character.
I think. I think that'd be a really great choice, and I do think
that describes one of my picks perfectly.
Okay, good. Yes, I want someone a kind of fresh take.
Mm-hmm.
I would like. I love the idea that there is not a romance between the doctor and the companion.
No romances.
Yes. I do want someone with a sense of humor and someone that's got a little bit of energy that gives as good as they get.
Right.
So I agree with that. So how we want to do this? You have 3, I have 5.
Right.
So do you want me to start?
Yeah, go ahead, and because we may have a one or two that are exactly the same.
Absolutely.
So once you go ahead and take one, then I'll take one.
Okay.
And we'll go from there.
So my first choice is Rose Leslie, who was Ygritte on Game of Thrones.
Nice.
Playing Jaime's granddaughter.
Oh, I like that.
So that way you have the connection from the past. You could have you could have,
Fraser Hines return.
Actually doing that.
He would love that. He would love to come back as Jaime.
And Rose was amazing as Ygritte. I just think that would give you a connection with the previous thing. And that would be such a timey-wimey bringing everything back together. So that's my first pick.
I would love that.
These are not necessarily in order, just kind of, as we're discussing.
It's a kind of a fan service pick, but I like it.
Yes. Oh, and almost all mine are fan service.
That's all right.
Yes.
That's okay.
These have no practicality. I did think of trying to think, okay, I would love to see Helen Mirren in the TARDIS, right? Helen Mirren. Yeah. But, I tried to keep it a little bit realistic.
A Christmas special. She'd be great as a one-off Christmas special guest.
She'd be absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. How about you?
Well, I'm going to go with the obvious pick right now.
Okay.
Shona McCalla.
Yes.
Played by Faye Marzi, who is apparently the current favorite to become the new 12th Doctor's new companion.
Right.
And I think that's a great choice. I've been on record with Next Stop Everywhere saying I think Shona would be a great companion.
And she's from the Christmas special, correct?
She's from Last Christmas.
Right.
This past Christmas special.
Yes.
That aired last Christmas, get it? But she's essentially, we find out at the end that she's a woman who worked in a shop.
Yes.
And she had this itinerary for Christmas Day that included forgiving some guy named Dave, and then presumably her boyfriend or whatever, or ex-boyfriend.
Right.
And she also wanted to watch she wanted to watch a lot of TV, like Alien, The Thing from Another World, Miracle on 34th Street, and a Game of Thrones marathon.
Yes.
So again, you've got another Doctor Who Game of Thrones connection, which I thought was great. But what made Shona interesting for me,
yes,
is that she used there's a scene early on in the episode where she's using song and dance to keep herself from thinking about the dream crabs.
Yes.
And that showed to me that she's inventive, she's adaptable.
Yes.
When she's faced with a threatening situation, she comes up with an innovative solution. So, and she's sassy toward the Doctor, which I think would play brilliantly.
She bantered with Santa.
Mm-hmm.
And so yes, I have no problem if the show goes with that. I think in a lot of ways I would put if I had a wish, if I was voting, I think because it first off destroys my contention that Moffat loves to get rid of potential companions. So therefore, like no, Jesse, there he goes. So yes,
but she also reminds me a lot of Eighth Doctor companion on Big Finish, Lucy Miller.
Okay.
So if you're familiar with Lucy Miller on Big Finish, you know what I'm talking about with Shona, because
I have not yet, but
because with her accent, because Lucy has a Blackpool accent, and she's very sassy, does not take any of the Doctor's crap, and so that's why I think that I think she would play brilliantly off Capaldi's Doctor.
Excellent choice, Charles. So I'm going to go back several years ago, and I had went to a screening of a new HBO series. It was a special Entertainment Weekly you got to see, and it was the Newsroom pilot.
Hey,
and I got to watch that. Yep. Yeah, Aaron Sorkin. I love Aaron Sorkin.
Take a drink.
And I was watching Emily Mortimer, and I said, God, she'd be a great Doctor companion. She's a little older.
Right.
But she has the banter, and she has been amazing with Aaron Sorkin's words. There's a charm to her. She was the co-star of Newsroom.
Right.
She's currently in another HBO series, and I just think she would be amazing. I don't think that's practical, but if I had a choice for a special or a one-off, I would love to see her in the TARDIS.
She reminds me physically of a modern day Barbara Wright from the first Doctor's era.
Absolutely, I could see that.
Like just her look about her.
Yes,
because it's she's not a classic beauty by any sense.
No,
but she's got an interesting look about her, and that's what Barbara had. And so, I mean, it's 50 years later, but but yeah, I could see her doing a similar type of take. Or updated for 2015.
Absolutely. All right. How about you?
My second pick, Journey Blue, played by Zoe Ashton from Into the Dalek.
Okay.
And she was that lieutenant and pilot in this thing called the Combined Galactic Resistance, which fought against the Daleks. She's the one who shows up initially on the Doctor's TARDIS, and she's kind of angry and pissed off and demands to be brought back to the ship. But then she eventually comes around. The Doctor kind of eases her into saying please. Her.
Okay.
And, at the end of the episode, she actually asked if she could join the Doctor, but the Doctor kind of refused her because she was a soldier.
Right.
So what if, through whatever recent experiences he's had, he has a change of thought and would consider her?
I like this a lot. I like that she does not look your typical companion. I think the military background would make it a little interesting.
Right, and she can handle herself against the aliens. Right. She's basically the kind of soldier that the Doctor really wants in his companions.
Yes.
Even though he won't say that.
Right. Yeah, that's also, once again, and
she's from the future.
Right.
So wouldn't that be interesting to have a companion from the future? What a concept.
Yes, and then
Yeah.
I think both of us would love a non-humanoid. I mean, a non-human
Earth,
companion.
yeah, Earth.
Yeah, non Earth, but
human, but just from like an
yeah.
outer space colony or something.
Yes,
Or
yes.
a planet, do
Yes,
something.
or from a different time period.
Yeah.
I think absolutely. Okay, very nice. I went for my next one is I did go back to Michelle Ryan in the wonderful Doctor
Planet of the Dead.
Planet of the Dead. I liked Michelle Ryan in the Bionic Woman remake. I know a lot of
the only good thing in the Bionic Woman remake.
I know a lot of people didn't like the show, but I thought she was very charismatic. I loved her sense of adventure. She's a bad girl, and we know the Doctor likes a bad girl.
Yes.
Or at least and I think she would have been a really fun companion to have. So if I had to go with someone who's been on the show, though I like your two picks more than mine, that would be one of my picks, though.
I thought initially back then, I thought Michelle Ryan would have been a great addition to Doctor Who as Lady Christina D'Souza. Yeah. I think too much time has passed, though. I think that ship has sailed.
Okay.
Not that she couldn't be brought back.
Yeah.
But it seemed kind of odd after this much time to make her the companion, in my opinion.
It would have been interesting
unless you introduce her gradually and then
yes.
Yeah. Or like, in an episode, then she comes like in a Christmas special, and then she comes back.
It would have been interesting if they could have used her the way River's Song was used.
Right.
Not as the Doctor's wife, but as a companion he saw several times, back and forth. Right. I think that would have been very, very interesting.
A recurring.
Okay. Yes, recurring. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. How about another one?
My last pick. As I continue with the Peter Capaldi era, because I knew Jesse would kind of go back in the vaults a bit.
Yes.
So I wanted to limit my choices to just this era to see if I could come up with 3.
Okay.
Now, here's one that may throw you a little bit. Alice O'Donnell.
Okay.
Played by Morven Christie in Under the Lake Before the Flood. Now, you may be asking yourself, she's dead.
Right.
Well, what if somehow, through timey-wimey means, the Doctor either goes back to before she dies, or somehow time gets rewritten and she's no longer dead.
Okay.
So, yes, this one takes a little bit of explaining to bring her back, but I think it would be worth it.
I totally agree with you. That would be a great choice.
Let me give you some background.
Okay.
Those who may remember, Alice is a systems technician on board the Drum, the underwater mining colony in 2119 Scotland. So again, we have someone from the future. It's someone it's a Scottish character, so therefore Moffat should be all over this. This would be perfect, right up his alley.
Yes.
Now, she was a big fangirl of UNIT, and the Doctors work with them. But she gets killed by the Fisher King, turned into a ghost, and the last she was left was that the Doctor mentioned something to Clara that UNIT's going to cut away the Faraday cage that was holding her and a few other ghosts and eject it into space away from the Earth's magnetic field, which would cause the ghost to dissipate.
Right.
So what? Just saying out, just ballparking it. What if that never happened? Like, what if it was en route to be destroyed? Something diverted it. Something, for whatever reason, gets O'Donnell back in play somehow.
Okay.
So yeah, it's going to take a little work, but I thought she would have been a great addition, and I know that because a lot of people were upset when she was killed off. You, of course, being one of them.
Yes.
But I think it's worth the effort to bring her back.
Absolutely. It would be very cool to see. And we did get Osgood back. At least we see, right? We saw
maybe.
Maybe.
We'll find out.
Yes. So I have 2 left, and I'll kind of tell them both at the same time. Natalia Tenya, who was Tonks on Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Natalia
Tena.
Natalia
Yeah,
Tena.
Natalia Tena. I like that actress a lot.
Yeah,
I did not like Tonks in the book.
and she's also in Game of Thrones.
Yes. So after seeing her, I think she would be an interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But here's my true dark horse. And I know you have not seen this show because you have your man card. Chasing Life, which is on ABC Family.
Yeah.
And
now I did watch the Gilmore Girls. Does that count?
Okay. Yes, it does.
Okay.
Oh, excited about that.
I
am. Haley Ram.
Mm-hmm.
Do a search for her. And she plays the younger sister of the main character in Chasing Life. She is American, so it would be a little bit outside of.
See, I would love that. I would love to, but for whatever reason, they're very resistant to the idea of American companions, even though they're trying to build a show in America. What's up with that?
I don't get it, but she is young.
Mm-hmm.
She's played a very interesting character on Chasing Life. And she is a classic beauty. She is brunette. She played Into the Wild. She was in the X-Men Last Stand. She's done.
Do you know who she played in X-Men Last Stand?
Let me look at there. I'm looking at.
In the spot. Sorry.
Or no, her IMDb page. Wow, she's really done a lot since she played the young Jean Grey.
Oh, okay, all right,
yeah,
I get it.
Yeah, and I just think she's an interesting actress.
Okay,
and I love the idea if they went American.
Yeah, I would love that too, but I don't see it happening. But
I also didn't even try to look at guy companions.
Yeah.
Though nothing would bother. I would think that'd be kind of fun too.
Guy companion, right off the bat, Riggsy. I think Riggsy would be a great pick for a male companion.
I agree. Yeah.
He proved it. He worked so well with Clara. Now, granted, Clara's not going to be around, but I think if you had another female companion and brought in Riggsy, that would be great.
And I do like the idea that having more than one companion in the modern era. We saw a little bit of that with Tennant,
mm-hmm.
and then of course obviously Amy and Rory, and I think that would be an interesting give and take. So we'll see what happens.
Now I'm kind of intrigued that you didn't pick Osgood as one of your companions.
Yes, I
thought for sure Osgood would show up on your list.
I thought she was going to be on yours.
It's like the gift of the Magi.
Yeah, exactly. When do you think they're going to announce it, Charles?
It's got to be coming up.
Yeah.
They might be holding off until after Clara's exit.
Okay.
But they're going to have to announce it soon because that new companion is presumably going to be in the Christmas special. Oh, no, I take that back because River's going to be in the Christmas special.
Right.
So we may not see the new companion until series 10.
Yes.
Whenever that begins. So they have some time. They could probably wait until after Clara's exit to announce them.
Okay. All right. Very nice.
It's only 6 more weeks.
I know. So, depressing.
Yeah.
But Charles and I are already talking about what we're going to do off season.
Yep.
So,
and one thing I would like to mention, that's a great segue. We do have a new news item to talk about.
Please share.
Which may tie into plans after series 9 ends next year. So the news item have I posted this on Damn Good Coffee this morning. David Tennant and Catherine Tate, if you don't know by now, are reprising their roles as the 10th Doctor and Donna Noble for Big Finish Productions. Yay! They're going to be appearing in 3 audios. They're going to be released in May 2016.
Okay.
The 10th Doctor Adventures. And this is going to be the first Doctor of the modern era appearing on Big Finish.
Oh, nice.
Now, recently they've Big Finish has added Torchwood.
Mm-hmm.
They're incorporating River's Song. So they're getting to play with the new era now,
Okay.
which I think is fantastic. No pun.
Absolutely.
But I think it opens up a lot of new doors for Big Finish.
Okay.
And if granted, I figure, well, Catherine Tate and David Tennant are pretty busy, especially with David Tennant, working with Jessica Jones, which is going to be great to see him as the Purple Man. He's going to be fantastic. If you've seen the trailers, you know how creepy he's going to be as the Purple Man.
He is going to be amazing. That show looks. I did not think they could be better than Daredevil. It looks like it may be, and Daredevil was pretty darn good.
Yeah, Jessica Jones looks to be the Brian Bendis series we didn't get with Powers.
Yes, I saw you talk about that, and absolutely, it makes me want to dig out all my Alias books and read them again. Truly amazing stuff.
Yep. So yeah, they're going to be back for 3 episodes. Presumably, if they enjoy themselves, they'll be back for more.
Good.
And if they are, then wouldn't it be great to have Tennant's 10th Doctor meet the older Doctors?
Yes.
Like, can you imagine the 4th Doctor?
Yes.
And the 10th Doctor together, or the 10th Doctor and the 8th Doctor, or even better, a reunion with the 5th Doctor. His father-in-law,
yes.
Davison. Wouldn't that be great?
The
potential here is fantastic.
Yes.
Or Captain Jack, a reunion with Captain Jack. Wouldn't that be great?
It would be absolutely great. I love it. I absolutely love it.
So it was a really good time. If you're a big Fanish fan, you're enjoying life right now, and if you're not, you might want to start becoming one because it's getting awesome.
Absolutely, and we probably will be going over those.
And I think it would be great to go over one episode a week, maybe for a few weeks. We could go.
Yeah.
Since there's only 3 of them, wouldn't that be a great little summer break to cover each of those audios?
Yes, I absolutely agree. Good. All right. Very nice. Anything else we got to cover, Charles?
That's pretty much all I have.
Okay. It was always fun talking Doctor Who with you.
Yeah, we did good.
We're halfway through this journey, but we have another 6 episodes to enjoy.
Yeah.
Plus the Christmas special. And of course, we will do a wrap up of the season.
Yeah.
So
we need to start lining up some guest stars for that.
We do. We absolutely do. Very good. All right. So, thank you, Charles. Thank you, listeners. How can we find you?
You can find me at Charles Skaggs on Twitter, at Charles Skaggs on Instagram. I'm on Facebook, of course. Also, my blog of geeky things, Damn Good Coffee and Hot, and the Google Plus for all you crazy kids on the Google Plus. Shout out to Karen.
Absolutely.
Thought I forgot about that, didn't you?
I did. It's like, okay, Google Plus.
I'm throwing it. I'm throwing you a curve. And then, so, and of course, my podcast I do with Karen, the Phantom Zone podcast. We're going to be adding yet another comic book show tonight with Supergirl. We're up to 7 now. Yes. So we'll see if we survive this.
Absolutely.
7 shows and 1 podcast. Can it be done? We're going to make it.
Yes.
Done.
And I can be reached at Jesse Jackson DFW. I'm continuing to be unhappy with Castle, but discussing it with Karen. And my Bruce Springsteen podcast continues to grow in, if not popularity, in numbers of episodes. This coming week, I'm going to have a Pink Floyd episode, and I just did my first released Pearl Jam episode. So I'm going to keep that rolling along.
Nice.
And, yes. So for now,
and you have like about 50 other podcasts you do these days, don't you?
No, I'm pretty. I was asked to talk. I just recently discussed Arrow that just got released, and so we'll see. And a friend of mine, that guy does the pool bag.
Yeah.
Had me on to talk about my comic origins, and he asked if I wanted to join to talk Love and Capes, Tom Zoller's trade paperbacks 1 and 2, and I'm like, Of course.
Of course. It's
Why wouldn't I?
designer of the Next Stop Everywhere logo.
Yes, he is. Yes.
Shout out to Tom.
Absolutely. Yeah. I say keep hope alive, and courage isn't just a matter of not being frightened, It's being afraid and doing what you have to do anyway. Wise words.
Yes.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye, everyone.